Hello. Recently, man, I uploaded a video talking about Dan Lilker rejoining Anthrax and filling in for Frank Bello for a few dates. Turns out I was misinformed about what was going on. Turns out he's not rejoining as a full member of the band. In the video, I speculated that maybe Dan Lilker, considering his background with bands like Nuclear Assault and Brutal Truth, might inject some heaviness back into Anthrax's music. Obviously now that we know Anthrax won't be recording a full album with Dan Lilker, we know that's out of the question, and they'll likely return to that kind of overproduced modern hard rock sound of their last album, For All Kings. But what I thought was most interesting, man, was just how upset people in the comments were, man. I'm familiar with defensive Metallica fans. Metallica fans have to deal with a lot of insults, and if you don't like a certain Metallica song, they'll just say you're an elitist metalhead and you just hate Metallica because they're famous. And, that kind of makes sense because, not trying to be a dick, but most people who are still heavily into Metallica probably are not big metal fans as a whole. I'm not gatekeeping. It's not elitism. I love early Metallica, but I've seen Metallica in concert twice, and you're way more likely to see a Godsmack t-shirt in the crowd than one of Metallica's influences or one of their 80s thrash peers. You might see some Megadeth shirts if you see any metal t-shirts at all. That's just how it is, man. No disrespect, it's just how it is. But man, I was not expecting Anthrax fans to get so offended by my remarks about Anthrax being not heavy. All right. So, first, man, do Anthrax fans really walk around listening to Antisocial and Standerfall, Got the Time, I'm the Man, and they think, wow, this is the brutal shit? By the way, man, Standerfall from Spreading the Disease is my favorite Anthrax song. But is it the heaviest song of 1985? No, it's not even the heaviest song on the fucking record, man. Maybe you guys should just expand your horizons a bit, man. Look, I own the first 5 Anthrax albums on CD. But even when I was first getting into thrash, man, I never thought of them as a particularly heavy band. It's good thrash metal, good heavy metal, a lot of well-written, they got some classic songs that everyone knows. But their entire shtick since the late 80s has been kind of, fun in the sun, colorful shorts. We're not like other metal bands, man. We wear Madonna shirts. We like to rap and be goofy and zany. Even in the 90s, man, they took a pretty commercial approach with John Bush, taking cues from the Black Album, Countdown to Extinction, Pantera. Granted, I know people who don't listen to a lot of metal are going to hear that and say, wow, what? Pantera's the heaviest band of the 90s. And, if you want to believe that, go ahead. But man, when I'm speaking on the heaviness of Anthrax, I'm not speaking on their quality as songwriters, man. I love Iron Maiden. I love Queensryche. Some Halloween, early Fates Warning, Sabotage, Sanctuary. Tons of bands from Anthrax's heyday who wrote great heavy metal, and they just weren't particularly heavy in the grand scheme of things, Some of you were saying Anthrax was, quote, heavy for the 80s. But even that's not true, man. If you would just venture slightly beyond the big 4 best-selling mainstream thrash groups, sure, man, if you compare Anthrax to Motley Crue and Bon Jovi, yeah, they're brutal as hell. But even looking at 1984, when their heaviest album, Fistful of Metal, was released, would you say it's as heavy as Don't Break the Oath, In the Sign of Evil, Bathory Self-Titled, War and Pain, Morbid Tales, Haunting the Chapel, the first Running Wild album, fucking, I could go on, man, and I'll name one you guys actually know, Ride the Lightning. Hey, that's heavier than any Anthrax record. Now, if Anthrax is your favorite band, you probably would not enjoy any of the albums I just named, except Ride the Lightning, but I'm just demonstrating that at no point were Anthrax the heaviest thing around, so I don't really see why that matters or why people took such offense to that. So yeah, man, I just wanted to clarify some of the comments I made about Anthrax. And honestly, man, knowing that Anthrax fans are this thin-skinned, I mean, think of all the abuse that Metallica fans have to deal with, man. Even the ones who actually know their shit when it comes to metal, they have to deal with a lot of jokes, a lot of memes, And I think I'm going to make fun of Anthrax even more, just to balance the scales, man. And when I do it, I'll be wearing my Spreading the Disease t-shirt that I've had for almost 20 fucking years, man. So My advice for the people of YouTube, man, I'd say separate your ego from what media you consume. Realize that, you know, your enjoyment of Anthrax is not tied into who you are as a human being. And you won't get so upset when some random dude on YouTube points out the fact, yes, fact, that Sodom, Hellhammer, Possessed. Sorry, dude, it's heavier than State of Euphoria. It's just how it is, man. And hey, fuck, man, I've got State of Euphoria on tape and CD. So, you know, it's not a bad record. But, is it in the top? It's not even in the top 25 heaviest metal albums of 1988. But anyway, man, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. You know, hope you Anthrax fans don't get too upset by this. I might, just to keep things even, I might make fun of Megadeth or might make fun of Slayer. I think I've already made fun of Slayer, so I need to make fun of Megadeth to keep people from freaking out too bad. So yeah, thank you, man.